Hi there, it's Peter Chapman from Skew Food. And I want to talk to you today about trust. Trust it's a great word. We love to use the word trust, but it's one of those words that it's a lot easier to say it than it is to actually achieve it. So we want to share with you our triangle of trust here at Skew Food. And the triangle of trust for us starts with the consumer. So you can put the consumer up here on our triangle of trust, and then we'll draw the triangle in right here. And it has to start with the consumer. In the food industry, it just has to start with the consumer. That's how our cart process starts, and our triangle of trust starts with the consumer as well. So the next component in that triangle of trust is the supplier. That's you. As a food industry producer or processor, you have to have that level of trust with the consumer. And it goes both ways. The consumer has to trust you to put your product in their shopping cart. And you, when you make investments in promotions and campaigns and that kind of thing, you're trusting that that consumer is going to pick up your product and take it home with them. So that's where the first two legs of our triangle of trust are. And the third component, which is so important, is your customer, the retailer. So when you can establish that line of trust between you and the retailer, it is incredibly powerful. And I know it doesn't happen very often. And it's always a negotiation. That we can't take that away from it. But we do know that when you can get to that great level where you can actually trust each other, where the retailer trusts that you're in this business to drive sales and you're in this business for them to drive sales, traffic, and profit in their stores, but also have a strong, solid business where you can develop and generate the returns that you need to be a viable, sustainable, long-term business and a very important supplier in their store. So when that starts to happen, then the conversations shift, because the conversations shift to how do we sell more? And most importantly, how do you develop that level of trust between consumers and retailers? And as a food supplier, you have an important role in that, because when consumers shop in the store, they're buying your products, they're buying other products, but at the end of the day, they always see it as though they're in there buying it from the retailer. So when this trust starts to be generated between the consumer and the retailer, between the retailer and the supplier, and then also between the supplier and the consumer, that is such a great place to be, because the conversations, the focus, it'll all be on how do we do more, not can you do it for 25 cents less, or can we ship a full pallet instead of a half a pallet, or can we do this for freight instead of that for freight. They're important conversations that have to happen, but when you can get to that triangle of trust, then you can really start to have the great conversations about driving more sales. And you know what? We're going to dive deep into the triangle of trust at our CART 2018 event in Halifax on September 26th and 27th. We're going to take an in-depth dive. We're going to talk about consumers. We're going to talk about alignment. We're going to talk about retail plans. And we're going to talk about trust. And we're going to bring our experts. We've got Shelley Blanco from the Hartman Group. We've got Peter McLaughlin, formerly from Loblaws and Weston Foods, and Tony Newman from the Innovation Advantage. And we're going to bring them all up, and we're going to have a real good heart-to-heart conversation about how do you build trust? How do you generate trust with consumers? How do you generate trust with retailers so that you can get to that all-powerful triangle of trust? So we'd love to have you come and join us. And on behalf of Gary Morton and I from Skew Food, we extend an invitation to you to really be a part of this event. We're limiting it. Only 50 businesses are going to be there, so it's not going to be a big room. It's going to be the kind of setting where you can talk to the speakers. We want you to have conversations. We want you to say, hey, Tony, I was thinking about this. Can you give me some insights? Or Shelley, my consumer this and my consumer that, what do you think? Or to Peter McLaughlin, I'm having a challenge with a category manager, or I think I'm getting there with this one. Do you think those are the right signs? All those kind of questions, for sure. They're going to be there. They're going to want to talk to you and engage with you. And that's what this event is all about. And oh yeah, Gary Morton and I will be there too to share some insights into the 2 days. So we would love to have you join us. It's going to be time for you to work on your business. It's going to be time for you to focus on your products. So we'll take all these different great insights that we're going to get and figure out how you can apply them to your business. So we'd love to see you. And I'd love for you to walk away from those 2 days and say, wow, you know what? I'm getting closer to the triangle of trust, because I know that it's going to help my business.